The world around us swells with noise, chaos, and a constant pull toward distraction. It demands our attention, tests our patience, and often lures us toward anger, frustration, and desire. And yet, for those of us drawn to the ancient path of Stoicism, there is another way. A quiet, powerful way that roots us in control, strengthens our resolve, and shields us against the destructive forces that assail the mind. As Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." To be stoic is to brave the world not through control over others, but through mastery over ourselves. We gather here not merely to reflect, but to commit, to embrace daily rituals that anchor us to what is true and steady within ourselves. By seeking this wisdom, we join a lineage of those who have found power, peace, and clarity in the face of life's greatest trials. The day begins in silence. Before the world has awakened and demands press upon us, we start with a moment of stillness. For the Stoic, each morning is a ritual of intention, an opportunity to remind ourselves that we are free to choose how we think, how we react, and how we judge the world around us. This morning ritual, however simple, lays the foundation for every moment to come. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love, wrote Marcus Aurelius. As we awaken, let us reflect on what truly matters: the breath we draw, the intentions we set, and the virtues we carry with us. We are not entitled to another day, another hour, or even another breath. By contemplating our own mortality, we free ourselves from trivial worries and transient fears, grounding ourselves in the present with gratitude and awareness. Consider this. In the quiet of morning before distractions begin, recite the Stoic virtues aloud: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These are not merely words, but pillars of our character. By aligning ourselves with them, we set a compass for the day. As we move through our day, we inevitably encounter moments that stir up anger, fear, envy, or desire. These emotions, if left unchecked, can consume us, turning us into slaves to forces beyond our control. But Stoicism teaches us that emotions, while natural, are not masters over us. They are visitors, passing guests that do not define who we are. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When faced with adversity or insult, let us pause. Rather than surrendering to our initial reaction, we step back, observing our emotions without yielding to them. In these moments, we exercise our greatest freedom, the power of choice. To cultivate this power, practice viewing every challenge as a test of our ability to remain calm, to choose virtue over vice, reason over impulse. Picture each encounter as a training ground, where our character is shaped and sharpened. The Stoic does not run from challenges, but sees them as opportunities to strengthen the soul. One of the most misunderstood yet powerful Stoic practices is premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. To some, the idea of visualizing loss, hardship, or failure may seem pessimistic or even morbid. But for the Stoic, this practice is an exercise in preparation and resilience. By imagining the worst, we prepare our minds for any eventuality. We detach ourselves from the illusion of security and recognize that all we hold dear is transient. "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand," said Seneca. In visualizing loss, we do not suffer it prematurely. Rather, we diminish its hold over us. We face our fears, acknowledge the impermanence of all things, and strengthen our ability to endure. Each day, take a moment to visualize potential losses or hardships. Imagine the loss of wealth, the betrayal of a friend, or even death itself. This is not to dwell in sorrow, but to remind ourselves of what truly matters and to accept that some things are beyond our control. When we do this, we live with greater appreciation, valuing each moment as precious and fragile. In a world that constantly pushes us to consume, to acquire, to desire more, the Stoic stands firm, undeterred by material allure. Stoicism teaches us that true wealth lies not in possessions but in contentment, in finding peace with what we have and who we are. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, wrote Epictetus. To cultivate this detachment, we engage in what the Stoics called voluntary discomfort. From time to time, choose to go without luxury, to embrace simplicity, fast for a day, sleep on the floor, or go without a comfort you take for granted. In doing so, we train ourselves to be content with little, to rely on our inner resources rather than external ones. We remind ourselves that we can endure hardship, that comfort is not a necessity, but a fleeting luxury. The more we practice detachment, the freer we become. We free ourselves from the chains of desire, from the endless cycle of wanting and acquiring. In simplicity, we find strength and independence. As the day draws to a close, we engage in one of the most sacred Stoic rituals, self-reflection. Each evening, before sleep takes us, we turn our minds inward and examine our actions, thoughts, and decisions. Seneca advised us, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself." In this ritual, we are both the judge and the student, holding ourselves accountable and learning from our actions. Were we patient in the face of frustration? Did we respond with kindness and courage? Did we allow anger or fear to dictate our actions? This reflection is not an exercise in self-criticism, but in growth. We do not judge ourselves harshly, but with compassion, understanding that each day brings new opportunities to improve. Through this nightly reflection, we learn to let go of regret, anger, and disappointment. We forgive ourselves for our mistakes, resolve to do better, and let go of the day's burdens. Each day ends as a chapter in our journey, and we prepare ourselves to begin again with renewed clarity and purpose. Stoicism is not a philosophy of mere contemplation, but of daily action, of continuous practice and refinement. To live as a Stoic is to commit to these daily rituals, not out of obligation, but out of a desire for strength, clarity, and peace. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden, Seneca wrote. By embracing these practices, we learn to bear life's trials not with bitterness, but with resilience and grace. We are not born Stoic. We become Stoic through practice, through discipline, through an unwavering commitment to inner growth. Each day we strive not for perfection, but for progress. We recognize that the journey is long, but that every step brings us closer to the mastery we seek. Together, let us walk this path. Let us hold ourselves to the highest standard, finding strength in wisdom, courage in adversity, and peace in self-control. In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, we carry within us a calm that cannot be shaken, a power that cannot be broken, and a purpose that guides us unwaveringly. This is the Stoic way. The world around us swells with noise, chaos, and a constant pull toward distraction. It demands our attention, tests our patience, and often lures us toward anger, frustration, and desire. And yet, for those of us drawn to the ancient path of Stoicism, there is another way. A quiet, powerful way that roots us in control, strengthens our resolve, and shields us against the destructive forces that assail the mind. In silence and strength, we move forward, each day renewing our commitment to live as true Stoics. We have chosen this path, and in choosing it, we have chosen freedom. Thank you for watching, and for more content, don't forget to like and subscribe.